Thank you. So yes, thanks so much to the Cliniko team and Joel for inviting me to share a bit of my story tonight. When I was thinking about a bit of an overall theme of what to talk to you about, I thought, well, of course, it has to be to do with tech. And I knew you'd all be very tech savvy, and a lot of you probably business owners as well. And it was actually only then, ironically, that I discovered what a strange journey I've had, because my first ever business was a bricks and mortar practice in a third world country with basically no tech at all. And then my next business was an entirely online telehealth practice, which relied 100% on technology just to operate. So I thought, well, that's been a pretty crazy ride. So maybe if I share some of the journey and the challenges and learnings I've had along the way, that might be interesting for you all. So I'm going to take you through 3 phases of my journey in business and technology: the no tech, going to the low tech where we started out, and the high tech, I guess, where we are now. I'm going to share the challenges that I faced in each of these phases, because we all love learning from our mistakes, don't we? And overall wrap it all up with the 3 main things that tech has taught me to get me to where I am today. So who am I? Well, I'm a musculoskeletal physiotherapist and the director of Online Physio. So we specialise in providing online consultations in physiotherapy for people who have trouble accessing traditional care. And because I've been working in this telehealth space for a few years now, I've been lucky enough to have some amazing opportunities come my way. I'm a founding member of the International Society of Digital Medicine. I was asked by the World Confederation of Physical Therapy to join a task force to outline and define telehealth in physiotherapy globally. And I've also snuck into some print and online media, had some podcast interviews, and done a bit of presenting as well. But of course, this all came from extremely humble beginnings, and I guess my journey, my business and tech journey, really started when, after a few years of being a physio, I decided to go back and do my master's in musculoskeletal physiotherapy. And this was quite transformational for me, because when I started the study, there was a really cute guy in the class, and on the tea break of day two, he started flirting with me, and so by the end of masters, I had a boyfriend. So that was a really good journey. Now, we dated for a few months, and then Dan, who was a physio as well, he got a job as a physio contracted to the Australian Defence Force in East Timor. Now, East Timor is a little developing nation sort of between Darwin and Bali, and it had just come through a period of civil unrest, and the army was there helping with the peacekeeping and development. Now, being a strong and independent woman, I didn't just chase a boy around the world, so I packed up my stuff and moved to East Timor, and I soon found that I needed a way to keep myself busy while I was there. And so with Dan's help, I launched Physiotherapy Timor, which was East Timor's first ever physiotherapy practice. And just to give you a little outline, this was sort of around 2008. The practice had no Wi-Fi, there was no such thing as social media, we didn't have a website, we had a Hotmail email address, but I couldn't check it during the day, so it was all about a little analog mobile phone. And look, the first challenge that we faced was how to let all the expats know that we were there. So there were thousands of expats working in Timor at the time, from the United Nations to the Australian Federal Police. They were diplomats, they were with NGOs and charities, and they were our paying customers. And of course, we then had free consultations for the local Timorese people as well. But when we first launched, we thought, how are we going to let everyone know that we're here? There's no digital marketing like there is today. So, we did what you do in an expat community, and we joined up with the Hash House Harriers running group. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is a popular group in places where there's big expat communities, and it's basically known as a drinking club with a running problem. So we attended the local Hash House Harriers and told them there would be free beer at the opening of our physiotherapy practice. And needless to say, it was a raging success, and everyone that knew about our practice. If only marketing was that easy these days. So then, of course, we launched the practice and it was time for me to take on my first employee. Tina was a lovely Timorese girl. She had basic working knowledge of English. She worked in an international hotel there. And I paid her $50 US a week, the princely sum, for her full-time role, and that was about 5 times the average wage for a local Timorese person. And that came with a few challenges. I had to teach her alphabetical order and how to file notes. And also every morning she would turn up between half an hour and 2 hours too late every day. And I tried everything. I tried explaining my expectations and telling her how we do things in Australia. But of course it wasn't her that needed to change, it was me. There is this concept of Timor time. It's a real thing where the events start when the people arrive, not to a set schedule. And she was relying on public transport, which were little mini buses that either didn't show or they were too full or they broke down. And Tina herself was relying on her babysitter arriving on public transport just so she could leave to come to work. So we took that to be the new normal. And look, these days I work in a completely online space, so I talk a lot about data and digital security, but of course the security in Timor was very different back then. This was a time where there was still rock throwings and knifings of sort of warring gangs and that sort of thing. And look, there was a young Timorese man who used to hang out in front of the practice, and to be honest, he made me a little bit nervous. But look, one afternoon I was leaving the practice heading out to my car, and I saw that he had a bandage around his foot, and I thought, well look, here's a way I can sort of offer an olive branch. I had been learning Teton, which is the local language in East Timor. It's sort of a cross between Indonesian and Portuguese. And so I looked at him and I said in Teton, "Oh, you are hurt." And a big smile broke out on his face, and he sort of nodded slowly, and I thought, oh, well, that was well received. I jumped in my car as I drove off. I could still see him sort of smiling and nodding as I left. But then when I rounded the corner, I realised that in Teton, the word for hurt is manas, which is very similar to moras, which means hot. So I actually just said, "Oh, you are hot." So facepalm moment, no wonder he was smiling. But the silver lining is he then sort of took it upon himself to look out for me, and he was sort of my unofficial security guard after that, which was good. So then we moved into a new phase. After 3 years of living and working in East Timor, it was time for us to move back to Australia. Spoiler alert, we did get married, so it all worked out for the best. And I said to Dan, I had a huge duty of care to these thousands of expats that had given up their comfortable life in their home country to go and live in East Timor, and I thought the least they deserved was quality injury management. And I said to Dan, look, all these people really need is a good qualified ear to listen to their symptoms and to come up with a working diagnosis and to give them a rehab plan to follow. I said, I reckon I could do that online. So Dan, in his infinite wisdom, said, do it, you should just do it. And with that, the concept of Online Physio was born. Now, I knew nothing about websites or tech. I was pretty much at the level of sending and receiving an email back then. So I did use a very sophisticated strategy to work out who I would get to develop the website. I got 3 quotes and just picked the middle one. It was very rudimentary back then. We were a basic website with a few basic forms. We used Skype for our video calls, and to organise a time for that, we would just email back and forth. And, again, some of these challenges that you make when you transition a traditionally hands-on profession to the online space started to surface. One of my early patients was a lovely lady named Michelle, and she was doing some work in Haiti after the earthquake. She was Italian with very good English. We'd been emailing back and forth, and she was doing some running, had developed some knee pain, and we were going to jump on a video call. But I knew, this is still 6 or 7 years ago, that the quality of the video call might be a challenge, and I wanted as much info as I could get before that. So I emailed Michelle and said, could you just send me a digital photo of you with your finger on where it mainly hurts, where the most painful part is? I knew that would help me to diagnose. And so what I received back was something like this. And I looked at it and I thought, oh, that doesn't look like a lady's leg. So I looked back at the intake form, and it was Michelle spelt with 1 L. country of origin, Italy. So Michelle is the Italian version of Michael, and Michael was in fact a man. And it hadn't occurred to me until that point to put a male-female tick box on our intake form, so that's something I updated. Another thing, in a bricks and mortar clinic, you don't even know that you're processing as the person walks towards you, instantly their height and their mass, their weight, as part of your assessment. Now, when we translate consultations to the online space, it's a lot harder to do that. So you may be talking to their face on a video call, you might have photos or videos of their various body parts, but that overall impression is a little trickier to do. So another thing I had to introduce was height and weight into our form so that I could get a very rudimentary idea of their BMI and perhaps why their arthritic knee was hurting so much. Little head, big body, I don't know. That's why I grabbed that photo. And then finally, when you're in a bricks and mortar clinic, it's pretty safe to assume that the people who come to see you are basically local. And if not, they usually tell you, I'm here visiting someone, or I'm only here for a couple of weeks. But suddenly in the online space, I could be treating someone from somewhere that is actually somewhere else at that moment. And I knew to give good quality care, I needed to know A, where they were from and what sort of health system they're used to and what they expect, but also where they are now in terms of if I needed to refer them on for other services or to purchase equipment, I had to know what they could do. So another thing I had to add into those forms is not only a postal address, because a lot of people that are traveling have their mail going somewhere else altogether, but where are you from, and also, if not there, where are you now? So all these little learnings along the way. So fast track to current day, and we're now on our third complete rebuild of the Online Physio website. Funnily enough, each website has been cheaper than the last, as I think I've sort of learned what bells and whistles we need and what we don't. And we've taken a lot of systems and really streamlined them. So we've got a much more sophisticated form platform now. We've got a much better video platform, and of course Cliniko is our practice management software. But of course, as you add more tech, you add more challenges as well. And you soon learn when you make these mistakes. At one stage, we were using a Stripe push notification when a payment came through to notify us that somebody had initiated a consultation. And on this particular day, I think Apple had done us an update, Stripe had done a security update, and unbeknownst to me, I'd been logged out of the Stripe app. It was a Friday morning. I didn't discover that this person had started a consultation process until Monday afternoon. It was terrible. So I apologised profusely, sent this patient a link to complete a form, and then waited for the email notification to let me know that the form had been completed so I could follow up with her. Now, of course, I hadn't set up the email notification correctly, so I sat there refreshing my email for days thinking she hadn't filled it in. She'd done it within an hour of me sending it out. So it never rains, it pours, and when tech goes wrong, you come crashing down. On the outside, we've now wrapped a project management software around our system, so we've got checklists and timeframes and nothing falls through the cracks. Now, another thing that's really sort of doing our heads in at the moment is that now the therapist and the patient can be in different time zones. And just to give you a really high-level example of this true story, at one point I was in Brisbane, and due to daylight savings, that was in a different time zone to Melbourne, where our Cliniko base calendar is set. And I was trying to organise a video call with a chap who was on an oil rig off the coast of Perth, in Perth time zone. I knew in a few days' time I was flying out to China, and a few days after that he was flying to Thailand. So between all of that, it was very challenging to work it out. But I'm a huge fan of softwares that listen to their users, and Joel and I have had chats about this time zone. And somewhere maybe, hopefully in the future, there'll be an ability for the Cliniko platform to support the therapist and the client being in different time zones, but yet both seeing their appointment times in their present time zone. So massive props to Joel and the team for that. And now I bring you the final challenge, the biggest one that we face at the moment, and that is that the private health insurers currently don't respect rebates for online consultations. So all our clients are full fee paying clients at this stage. It isn't a case of if, it is when, and I have sat down and had conversations with Bupa and with Medibank The Australian Physio Association is doing some advocacy there too, but that is the biggest challenge that we face. Thankfully, once these rebates are approved for physiotherapy and hopefully other allied health services as well, the guys at Meetup will be well equipped to sort us out with some processing there. So, what has this massive tech journey taught me? Well, these are the three key things that I've learned. First of all, tech will always fail, deal with it. I think when I first started out, I thought if I just learn a little more or I just spend a bit more on my tech platforms, everything will just work. But I'm sure Joel will vouch for the fact that it's not the case, and the nature of technology is that it's growing and shifting and developing all the time. The nature of multiple programs is they have to work out how they interact with each other. And I think when I gave away the tech being perfect, I removed a lot of the anxiety for myself, and it just became about having contingencies and having backups and having workarounds. And of course, I can control everything I like on my end, but when I'm dealing with clients or patients, they have varying levels of tech knowledge as well. So it's just a case of calming my farm and working through those bugs. Next learning, make tech human and make it a part of your team. So as I said, our website we've got now has been our best, our most cost effective, and I've got the best relationship with the developers. And I think that was a real turning point for me, realising that the tech isn't just software, it's actually a whole team of humans behind that, and we have a really mutually beneficial relationship. They need the feedback from us, and we need the system that they have to work well. So I've now got really great relationships with say Sylvia, who creates CoView, our video platform, with Marion, who is the Australian rep for PhysiTrack, our exercise prescription software. So really, I count all those humans behind the tech as part of our team, and it's something that the Cliniko team does really well. You're all here for a start, but also if anyone has seen on their Facebook page, they're very open and transparent. If there's glitches or bugs, if any other tech platforms don't tell you those things, it's not because the glitches and bugs aren't there, it's simply because they're not being upfront about it. And finally, start simple and add layers. I think we all think that just throwing tech at a solution will fix it, but of course it doesn't. And I think Bill Gates said it best when he said, automation applied to an efficient operation will magnify the efficiency. But automation applied to an inefficient operation will magnify the inefficiency. And I think that's really true. I think, Kathy, you just posted that recently as well, didn't you? All right, so look, I know that what I do, taking a traditionally hands-on profession online, does raise lots of questions. And I'm always really happy to answer all of those. Because I do have a lot of health professionals asking me questions about getting into telehealth, I have written a lot of blogs and made some videos on all of this stuff. So if it's something that you think you might be interested in, just shoot on over to karenfinnin.com and there should be lots of information there that can help you get started. And also, if you are dabbling in telehealth or looking to get started or you're already well on your journey, we've got a Facebook group called Allied Health Telehealth Australia. So come and join in our conversation there as we all share our trials and tribulations on our telehealth journeys. So thanks so much for your time, and I look forward to chatting with you and answering any questions that you may have.